viewers in just 48 hours. Bangladesh has gone from being tense to being on the edge. Mohammed Yunus-led interim government is facing a full-blown crisis and possibly even a national revolt. 2 secretariat lockdowns. University teachers have put down their pens. Bureaucracy is boiling. National teachers have also joined the protest. Factories are bleeding and the economy is teetering on collapse. In fact, all this as 1.5 million protesters have been on the streets protesting against Mohammed Yunus. Led by the youth wings of BNP, they flooded the streets and their chant is very simple, that they want elections to be held as promised. In fact, BNP has been leading this charge against Mohammed Yunus, demanding elections to be held at the earliest. In fact, all this while, Mohammed Yunus is not in Bangladesh, he's actually in Japan. Now, there's an earthquake of dissent that he faces. Youth are on fire, demanding, as I said, accountability and an end to the authoritarian experiments. And which is why we ask that it is now youth versus Yunus that is unfolding in Bangladesh for a variety of reasons. They want jobs, they want reforms, all of which that they had been promised, but none of which has been delivered by Yunus. Which is why the big questions that we ask on India Global, as always, that in this showdown between the youth and Mohammed Yunus, what will be, who really stands with Mohammed Yunus at a time like this? Next up, can Yunus actually understand, comprehend the demands made by the youth? The reason for that is that there could be a disconnect. He's an 84-year-old man, and then there are these youngsters who are seeking change. Next up, can Yunus really ignore the clarion call that is being made for elections? It's not a call just by BNP, it's a call by the army, it's a call by student leaders, it's a call across the board. How long will he resist that pressure? And lastly, as chaos erupts, where exactly is Yunus? Why isn't he right now in Bangladesh trying to address the friction that is coming to fore? And he is in Japan. Before I open this up for the guests, I want to quickly first play out this ground report that we have for you from Dhaka, from ground zero, to really understand how things are unfolding on the streets of Bangladesh. Batin Biplab, who joins us and gives this report from Dhaka to tell us what really is unfolding in Bangladesh. Listen in.
From the capital of Bangladesh, Dhaka, and it's the biggest rally for establishing youth political right by Bangladesh Nationalist Party and 3 bodies of this party, Jubadal, Shetsashavak Dal, and Chhatradal. They already gathered in front of their central office and And if I want to show you the rally, you just see the huge number of activists of Bangladesh Nationalist Party. They mostly from Jubadal, Chhatradal, and Shetsashavak Dal. They already gathered in front of their office. And the political leaders of Bangladesh Nationalist Party said to us that they want to establish the rights of the youth. And, the acting chairperson Tariq Rahman addressed to scheduled to address the chief guest in this procession. And, we will join virtually, and the leaders of Bangladesh Nationalist Party, Khandakar Musharraf Hussain, and they are also standing committee member, Khandakar Musharraf Hussain, Abdul Moin Khan, Amir Khusru Mahmud Chaudhry, and Salahuddin Ahmed. 4 leaders already gathered in front of this the stage. Already you see the stage set up in front of BNP central office, and a huge number of activists from different districts of Bangladesh. In this youth political rights rally, not only Dhaka supporter, beside Dhaka, there are 4 district supporters gathered here, like Sylhet, Madaripur, Faridpur, and Mymensingh. And this is the end of the planning of BNP.
All right, Faisal Mahmood and Padma Raj joined me to talk more on what is unfolding right now in Bangladesh. We played out that report where we saw just streets and streets of people trying to now comprehend that how long are they going to put up with what's happening, given that they were promised change. Faisal, let me start by asking you, as things stand right now, Mohammad Yunus is facing pressure from multiple fronts, isn't he? Whether it's the teachers, whether it's the bureaucracy, whether it's the youth who are on the streets, or whether it's the political party, the only one that is allowed to actually contest the election, BNP. All of them are up in arms because they feel that what they were promised hasn't been delivered. How do you see the situation right now on ground, and what do you think is the reason why people are on the streets?
Thank you, Gauri. Yes, situation is a bit tense out there because, as you mentioned, like the largest political party, Bangladesh Nationalist Party, they demand an election, like an exact election date, and they're showing their organizational power on the streets of Dhaka because they have mustered this huge, large crowd in the center of Dhaka to place just one demand, like declare an election date. That's their basic demand. But what Dr. Yunus has tried. If I have to borrow the word from the Game of Thrones, he just wanted to break the wheels, and that's not an easy job. He wanted to bring a lot of changes in the bureaucracy in other places as well, in the administration, in the whole process. And there is resistance from every quarters because people want this status quo to be maintained because they don't want these systems to be changed. And Dr. Yunus, before declaring an election, he wants this change to take place because he believes that if there is a status quo and an election will take place, then nothing will actually change. So that's why there's sort of like a standoff. But again, Dr. Yunus has declared that the election will take place between January and January and June. So there's a 6-month gap. But the political parties led by BNP, they are not convinced. They want an exact election date. And there is the actual standoff because without an exact election date, they're sort of like they're feeling agitated, because in the past 1 decade, there was no proper election. And BNP is sort of like scared that when will the next real election will take place. So that's why they're agitated.
Okay, so that seems to be a very simplified explanation to a complex problem. One is, of course, pressure from BNP, which played a very important role in the churn that actually led to Mohammad Yunus coming to power. But Padma Rao, come in there in terms of how things are unfolding in Bangladesh. Pressure points are multiple, and let's take those visuals. Let's play that out once for our viewers. In terms of even if you say 1.5 million people on streets, maybe an exaggerated number, but it still indicates the extent to which people are unhappy with Mohammad Yunus and the promises he made.
Thank you, Gauri. Thank you for having me. I'm sorry if you hear a beep, but I don't have electricity where I am. I agree with Faisal, that these are primarily 3 groups that are close to the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, which hopes to win an election because it's been out of power for very long. Sheikh Hasina has been sort of prominent in rule and she was driven out of the country. Now, it's important to remember, who are, when we say that these are students' groups, let's not forget that it was a students' group movement primarily that propelled Mohammad Yunus to the role of interim advisor to start with. So now what happened to those students? Now those students are now a political movement, a fledgling political movement called the National Citizens Party of Bangladesh, or National Citizens Movement. And that is, those are the people who wanted him to be the interim advisor. So my personal reading of this delay in the elections is because, they are a fledgling movement. If elections were to be announced in December, then they would not be able to consolidate themselves as a political organization vis-a-vis, the huge BNP, and of course the Awami League is out of the picture now. So I think that what they're trying to do is buy time to, hold the elections and also be able to hopefully compete in those elections, and perhaps, who knows, even with Professor Mohammad Yunus as their candidate. So I think that is what is happening, but I would really be interested in knowing, perhaps Faisal could enlighten us on who exactly are these groups, Faisal. When we say students, yes, there are a lot of civil rights activists, there are a lot of lawyers, there's certainly a lot of stuff that has gone wrong in Bangladesh. The elections were not announced within 6 months of Professor Yunus taking over in August last year. So if he now pushes it forward to January to June.
In fact, there's a statement that's coming from Mohammad Yunus, who is in Japan right now, and he has in fact said that general election will be held in Bangladesh by June next year under any circumstances. That's what he has said.
That's what I'm referring to, Gauri.
Yeah, and in the backdrop of that, it is unclear as to whether he's actually responding to the pressure that's happening on ground or not. But Faisal, respond to... Yeah, no, you've been speaking, but yeah, 10 seconds, yeah.
If I may just finish, please. I just wanted to say that if he is serious about holding elections, January to June is too vague a period. Perhaps it might help if he were actually to name a date, because I think that is what the BNP is waiting for. And when, we say students groups on the streets, then I'd really like to know, I'd be interested in knowing the exact composition of these students groups.
Okay, Faisal, respond to that very quickly. Which are these students? Which are these students?
These are the youth wings of BNP. Shetcheshebok Dal, Jubo Dal, these are like the youth wings of BNP. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining me. As far as how Bangladesh is unfolding, well, viewers, bottom line really is that while Bangladesh remains on the edge, Mohammed Yunus has booked a window seat to Tokyo. Yes, when teachers strike, civil servants revolt, and 1.5 million protesters flood Dhaka, the interim Prime Minister decided it's the perfect time for cherry blossoms. Mohammed Yunus, remember, is caught between competing demands for reform and elections. He promised both of these when he came to power last year. But it's the youth of Bangladesh that feel most shortchanged. Remember, Yunus came to power ostensibly riding a student revolution, and with no change on ground, a worsening economy, which has led to shrinking opportunities, the youth of Bangladesh are demanding answers. And in fact, with an impending showdown with the army, Mohammed Yunus is running out of time, or at least that's what it seems. And while there is still no clarity as far as when that election schedule will be announced, saying it would be as early as June next year will hardly assuage any of the frayed nerves. The reason why people are on ground is because they need answers. Vague references will not satisfy them.